And let's move on to the market action. Now we have with us our market analyst, Mr. Trivedi, with us to talk on the market action. Welcome to you, sir. We're talking about today's market action. This is something the market, and especially the investors, is looking forward since so many days. Suddenly, there's an upswing in the market, and all the indices are in green zone.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. Of course, today Indian markets are basically, taking the cues from the global market. Where yesterday in the ECB meeting, Mario Draghi clearly stated that they are, going to unconditionally going to give support to the nations who are struggling to keep up with their fiscal deficit, and they are going to keep on buying the bonds as long as they continue to satisfy the conditions laid down in the EFSS schemes. So I think there's a big positive sentiment booster practically for all the global markets.
Well, how do you think that the rally will go on? Because we have seen the market looks very strong here domestically. We have good support, and now with the international market is giving its hand to come up here. Probably, what are the numbers that looking forward that markets will get settled down?
See, we are positive currently on the market. Basically, last few weeks, if you see, markets has been consolidated. Nifty and Sensex, Nifty at about 50 to 100 level consolidated, and yesterday the positive news coming out of the ECB, and the last week also the Fed meeting, Ben Bernanke also said that they are not ruling out the QE3. Although they didn't specifically said that they are going to come out, but still they are not negative on it. So I think that's going to give us support to the global market. And if you see, Indian markets are now taking cues of the global market, and we see market to Nifty to scale about 55 to 5600 level in coming months.
We're talking about this, in the index specifically. We have seen that the metal stock in the market is doing well. This is the very stock which were really beaten up last week, including this week also a couple of days back. Do you believe that just a timing phenomenon that the stock is taken a bit?
Yeah, if you see the banking metal and the banking metal reality, they are the biggest three, they got hammered in the correction. And metal, basically, they are directly in relation to the kind of Chinese growth that are coming out. And if China is going to going to go for degrowth of about 7%, metals are something that still investors would be wary. Although we are seeing today smart rally in the metal stocks, but I think sustainability of the rally in metal stocks would be more or less depend on how the Chinese economy and the Chinese statement comes out in coming months.
Is that we have seen the gold is also glittering right now, and it is because of we have seen some competitors of ECB also, and on the other hand we have marriage season also coming in the country. How do you believe that the gold market and especially the gold price will settle down now? Is it right time to invest into it? Probably wait for some more time because gold is going to come down.
Yeah, I think gold is something that the investors should always keep on buying at various intervals. I mean, of course, the marriage season, all these are, I don't think much importance to those things. But if you look fundamentally, gold is a safe haven in terms of uncertainty, inflation. And yesterday, the kind of statement came out with the ECB, although it is a sentiment booster for the equity market, but it clearly indicates that there is a problem in Eurozone and they are not going to solve it overnight. So there definitely some funds are going to buy gold. Of course, liquidity is again going to push into the system because of the bond buying. So again, some of the money will definitely go into commodity as well as equities. So again, gold will be one of the biggest beneficiary. And we are still positive, yeah.
Talking about the banking scenario, we have seen here that some of the private banks currently looking at their loan restructuring also, and looking at the numbers also, look quite good compared to the PSU banking right now. What's your take on that?
See, PSU bank has always been on the investors' radar whenever there is some sort of a NPA worrying comes in. So they are the first one to take a beating. Now, if you see last couple of weeks, even the private sector banks likes of Axis and ICICI, they also get burnt out of of the investors' worry on the NPA front. But having said that, even if you look at the Indian banking sector as a whole, I think like in 1990s where you had the economic situation was far more worse because Indian economy was much more, not a global as such today. That time the gross NPA level was about 15 to 20% of GDP. Today the gross NPA levels are just about 5% of GDP. In other terms, they are just about 4 to 5%. So worry is correctly in place, but I think it's not that worse a scenario. And I think most of the price correction has been already taken place. The negativity is already today in the price of particularly PSU banks. So I think PSU banks might give a bit of rally while private bank may take a breather right now.
Well, what's your view on the RBI then? Probably what lies in RBI hand right now, because you've seen the number also was not so quite good, but in spite of that, any action from the RBI you expect?
It's difficult to see RBI come out with any monetary easing in current meeting. And I mean, unless they, for the moment, if you want to put inflation worries aside, then to give a boost to the growth, or to again improve the sentiment of domestic and international investors, RBI may come out with a 25 bips rate cut, but it's difficult to see at this point in time because your inflation number is still at 7-8%, well your growth is about now 5%, so it's more of a stagflation situation right now that India is going through. So I think it's going to be very balancing act for RBI to come out with.
Alright, so there's a very little movement for the RBI to work according to the expectations, especially for the investors. And talking about the banking scenario here, let's move on to other stories now. The auto stocks looking good. We have seen the numbers of many of the auto companies also and somewhere it looked like that companies, especially in auto sectors, are coming up with the new products now in the coming ahead, because they think that probably the hard time has gone now.
Yeah, auto sector will take some time, because there is a pain in economy, because if you have come from 8% GDP growth, you are now at 5.5% GDP growth. So there is definitely a pain in the economy. So overnight you cannot change the demand scenario or the growth scenario for the auto companies. So and of course one of the main reasons, in India is a big market. You are talking about a 1 trillion economy, so there is opportunity. So auto companies would definitely come, try to come out different variants, different models, and different opportunities to get to the get a larger market share.
Well, when you get a support from the market action, you got the support from the industry heavyweights, but we should not forget the mid-cap and small-cap industries today also perform really well, and both the industries have seen 1.8% or 0.99% respectively up in the market right now. This is what is a good sign for the overall market action, because we also got a support from the small companies at this point of time.
Definitely. I mean, initially the large cap basically they lead the rally. Today there was a gap up opening, and most of the index stocks were about 2 to 2.5% whatever they were up. And I think next coming session, what will be important is that the market doesn't again go and break down. At least consolidated at 5300 or 5350 level of Nifty, and then we can see more buying interest coming in the cash segment, maybe in the mid cap and small cap. I think that will be very healthy sign for the markets.
Right. Though investors have win-win situation here, but Mr. Trivedi, what are your signs that which are the stocks that you are more bullish on in keeping all these eye in today's green market?
I think we are very much positive on IT stocks. Again, FMCG is again something is going to deliver stable return. We don't expect any sharp rally going forward, but I think there is a safe haven. FMCG and pharma basically a safe haven for the investors. And IT, and we also like banking is something I think one should start looking at it, because the worst case scenario, the the NPA and NP numbers and everything is more or less been priced in. So I think banking would also give good opportunity.
All right, thank you for giving all those details from the market action. That was a market analyst who was saying that FMCG and pharma and also the banking stocks are good to move on. Let's move on to the rupee market now, moving in line with the equity market.